Now, I'm Jago Castro, bringing you the biggest headlines from around the world. 16 more hostages were released by Hamas on the final day of a two-day extension of a truce in Gaza. The group of civilians included Israelis, dual nationals, and Thai citizens. Prior to this, two Russian-Israeli women were also freed by Hamas in a separate release. As part of the exchange deal under the truce, Israel will release 30 Palestinian prisoners, including 16 minors and 14 women. Israel says it will consider a proposal to extend the truce if there is a serious offer to release the remaining hostages in Gaza. Israeli government spokesman Eylon Levy said Israel is committed to returning all 161 hostages home. Israel and Hamas have been negotiating through mediators over another potential extension of the Gaza truce. This as only a few hours are left to reach a deal before fighting was due to restart after a 6-day pause. Families of Israeli hostages were informed of the names of those due to be released later in the day. This is the final group to be freed amid a temporary ceasefire, unless negotiators succeed in extending it.
The current framework allows for a few more days of hostage release pause, but inasmuch as there is a serious offer on the table to release the remaining hostages as we are demanding, we will of course consider every serious proposal because we're committed to doing everything to bring them back.
The Palestinian Health Ministry reports that two Palestinian children were killed on Wednesday by Israeli forces in the West Bank. The two victims, aged 8 and 15, were reportedly shot dead by occupation forces during a raid at a camp in Jenin. Reuters footage showed Israeli military vehicles maneuvering through the streets of Jenin. Gunshots could be heard in the background. Two soldiers also died during the raid. The Israeli army said that two soldiers were killed during, quote, counter-terrorism activity conducted in the Jenin camp. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now World. I'm Diego Castro. The U.S. Justice Department says an Indian government official directed a failed plot to assassinate a Sikh separatist. This comes as the agency announced charges against the man accused of orchestrating the attempted murder. The charges come after senior admin officials said U.S. authorities had thwarted a plot to kill a Sikh separatist. Federal prosecutors said Nikhil Gupta, the man arrested last June on murder-for-hire charges, worked with the Indian government employee, whose responsibilities included security and intelligence. Federal prosecutors did not name the Indian official or the target, though they did describe the latter as a U.S. citizen of Indian origin. The prosecutor said the defendant conspired from India to assassinate the target, who has publicly advocated for the establishment of a sovereign state for Sikhs. A U.S. military aircraft crashed into the sea in western Japan, killing at least one crew member. The aircraft reportedly carried 8 people, with a condition of at least 2 hauled from waters unclear. The U.S. military said the mishap occurred during a routine training mission off the shores of Yakushima Island. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said he planned to seek a further explanation from the U.S. military. Let's now take a quick look at the other world stories we're watching. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi says the recent spike in respiratory illnesses in China is now under control. He adds that clusters of flu cases among children are very common. 4 migrants died after falling from a speedboat at a beach in southern Spain. A witness says he saw how the migrants started jumping into the water and how others were being forced to jump. And Britain bids farewell to its only 2 giant pandas as they prepare to go back to China. The pair came to Edinburgh in 2011 as part of a decade-long agreement. And those are the top world headlines of the hour. Join us again at 9:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News, all sides, all the time.